This is a review of the Rebellion Predator 2.0 Regulator Tourbillon. This is a limited edition watch, I think of 30 pieces. There's a gold version and there's this titanium version. And this is the first Rebellion review I've ever done, actually. This is a brand that I've known about. They make mostly crazy watches, and I say crazy in a good sense. I just never had an opportunity to really connect with the brand. And then they said, hey, review this Tourbillon. I was like, okay. This is a very impressive watch, though it's not for the weak of heart. It is 48 millimeters wide and roughly 19 millimeters thick. So you can see that that wears in a very statuesque manner. If you have larger wrists, which I don't, I think you'll be able to pull off the size. I had to cut the bracelet down here so that it fit. And you can see again, it's probably for a larger size wrist. But if you do have a smaller wrist and you like the look, it doesn't wiggle around too much. Just assuming that you size it precisely, you're good. Rubber strap, and like I said, you have to cut it to size. Deploying clasp. There's a diver's extension. I have no idea why. It's not a diver's watch, or I wouldn't die with it. So what is this watch all about? Well, the movement is made exclusively for Rebellion, and they say it's based on a movement called the Telos Watch P351, which was a regulator movement. I don't know too much about the Telos, but I do know about regulator movements. So what you have to understand here is you see the main hand is the seconds hand. Then here in this subsidiary dial you have the hour indicator. In this one over here, adjacent to it, you have the minutes indicator. And right here you have a tourbillon. There's another version of this watch which is very similar, but rather than the tourbillon, it has a power reserve indicator, and it is an automatic watch. Detailing is really fantastic. There's an enormous amount of customized parts and little interesting details that work really well. You also have the date window right there. The depth of the dial is fantastic, and one of the things that you'll get to see in the review is what the lume looks like. Rebellion painted lume all around here. So you see there's like a little frame, a light-colored frame around the tourbillon. That's actually lume. So that entire circle there is lume. There's lume on the hands. There's lumes on the dials. The lume is really great. And it's almost what I would call novelty lume. The movement operates at 4 Hertz, and the movement has a power reserve of 65 hours. So it's, again, not a movement that you get for technical innovation, but it's a technical stunning movement. It's an artistic movement. It was designed with aesthetics and to perform a particular task. Regulator watches are slightly less common, but they have historical importance because they were watches or clocks that other clocks or watches were set to. So they were supposed to be very precise as well as easy to read. In the watch world, they're not as common, but if you see here, by adopting a regulator style format, they've done something very interesting with the dial. It's got personality, and I love the fact that the main hand is the seconds hand that moves all the time. And a lot of regulator watches, that would not necessarily be the seconds hand, that could be possibly the minutes hand. But actually, more traditionally, I believe that is where the seconds were on the main dial. So again, it's an automatic movement made exclusively for Rebellion. The Predator case, the Predator 2.0 case, is basically what this is based off of. I don't know if they have the same movement in other watches, but Rebellion does have a few other cases other than the Predator 2.0. Interesting timepiece, like I said. They seem to indicate that each of these models is a limited edition of 30 pieces, so it's quite uncommon. Price for the Rebellion Predator 2.0 Regulator Tourbillon in titanium is 70,000 Swiss francs, and you can see the full review on A Blog to Watch. Thanks.